こんにちは、ハリケーンフットボールです。今回の教材は、リバプールの遠藤航に関する動画です。プレミアリーグ第35節で、リバプールはチェルシーに3対1で負けました。この試合では前の試合から6人を変更し、遠藤航とハービー・エリオットも今シーズン初めての先発出場となりましたが、遠藤航とブラッドリー以外は、基本的に厳しい評価を受けています。ハービー・エリオットやダーウィン・ヌニェスと比べるとなおさら、遠藤航の良さが際立っている状況ですが、それぞれの状況や、それぞれを対比しながら、いかに遠藤航が素晴らしいのか、実際にチェルシー戦で何が素晴らしかったのかを話しています。実際にどのように話しているのか、チェックしてみましょ
う。The game, or the key instance, obviously 6 changes, Chris. I was surprised he did it. I genuinely thought he was going to do his big spiel about that was a chance to give some of the lads a game, and then it would just be, Alisson, Robertson, Van Dijk, Konate, Trent, Gravenberch, McAllister, Szoboszlai, Gakpo, Diaz, Salah, and he went 6 changes. Like, oh wow, okay, cool. Yeah, he actually meant it. Do you think we'd have had a better chance of winning the game if we'd not done 6 changes?
No.
Okay.
I don't think it would have mattered who he picked this time around, to be honest with you. It was nice to see that he could be asked having a shave for the game, though. We were wondering whether that was going to be a thing or not heading into it. I mean, look, I didn't know that he'd even said it because I'd switched off already to it all. So, and I think a lot of people were in the same boat as me there. But I was probably, because I'd not heard him say it, I did think 6 was quite a few. But who was asked? Like, really?
Too few?
Well, yeah, maybe.
No, wait. 2 times. Anyway, carry on.
So I think, for me, it was maybe making sure that a couple of lads like Gravenberch get some rest, isn't it? So, and, I think he needs to know what he's going to get out of those players moving forwards. I mean, it was massively interesting for me, Harvey Elliott in there, and, even in a game that you don't think matters, you're looking at that going, kind of see why Harvey Elliott's not been playing that position, and I can see why Dom Szoboszlai has been playing that position, because we just look a much more solid outfit for just having him in there.
I did feel, I think let's focus on Elliott, Dan, because I felt a bit sorry for him, and for I don't know, sorry is a weird way to describe it, but yeah, I do. I really like Harvey Elliott, I do. But I'm not sure, and maybe this is Chris is right in why he's not been playing, but putting him on the right-hand side of that midfield, or, hanging towards that right-hand side of midfield, with a guy who publicly came out on television, national television last week, and said him and the manager have agreed that he doesn't have to do any defensive work. Yeah. And the lad that was 24 hours away from revealing that he's not going to be a Liverpool player anymore, was not maybe the best platform for Harvey Elliott's talents, given his, what he brings as a physical specimen to the game. I thought it was a very short sample range at the end of the game, but once Bradley came on, I thought he looked better because we were passing the ball to him with players around him.
Yeah, I agree with that latter point. Ultimately, though, the first, but that's the job. Yeah. That's the job that's been asked of Dom Szoboszlai all season long, and he's carried it out brilliantly, and manfully and willingly as well. I think it's fair to say the question marks around Szoboszlai has been the output element and what can he do in possession. That's where we've really had our wonders about him. But yeah, as for Harvey, as Chris alludes to, that's why he hasn't been seen. That's the first Premier League start he's made all season long, and it was pretty evident to see why. I think the midfield generally was a bit imbalanced, didn't really tick. We got outclassed and outworked and outran a little bit in there, but Harvey didn't help. And I even think in the sort of the opening hour of the match, when it was obviously Trent and Salah on that side, clearly has a big shift to put in, but even when he got on the ball, it never really happened for him either. He was a bit sloppy in possession. The quality we know he does possess didn't really come to the fore either. So, and it was another example, you can include Plymouth and probably PSV away, where Harvey's played and given the chance and hasn't taken it so far.
The midfield thing was just weird in general, Chloe, because I'm not sure. I thought Endo was the best midfielder, and he was probably like Cole Palmer technically played in midfield, I guess, but he was one of the best midfielders on the pitch. Thought he had a brilliant game, but it's almost like when you have pre-season and someone who is getting sold has a good pre-season game, and you're like, big Alan Partridge shrug, because shame. If he played like that every week, I'd love to see more of Wataru Endo, but actually I was kind of disappointed. I thought Curtis Jones stunk the calf out in a 2-man midfield. I thought he was better when he just, at the end of the game, when he played it on his own. But yeah, Endo was the one who looked like I've got my chance to showcase what I can do here and really grab the opportunity.
Yeah, and I think when we all looked at the team sheet outside the ground before going in, we all was in a little bit disbelief that he'd actually put Wataru Endo from the start, because we literally joked about him, you know, getting a guard of honour by Caicedo and Lavia. So like to see him have that moment was boss is song enough. But actually, like you said there, he was constantly free. He wanted the ball, and it wasn't just defensively where he was really good. He actually was beating his lads. He was beating Enzo Fernandez. There's one where he literally, I think he does a roulette around him and says, "See you later, lad, I'm off." He was our best midfielder, which, you know, when you've got the likes of Kurt, who's had a good season, and Harvey Elliott, who we've been screaming at wanting should get more game time, you know, you're not expecting to say that, but he was the most stable. He was always open, and actually he did very well in a more advanced position when we actually got on the ball higher up. So yeah, it was great to see him. You know, it'll be interesting to see what his role is, because it has developed this season. At the start, I thought Slaughter wanted them absolutely nowhere near this squad, and yet he learned to trust them more, and he got given more game time. And, you know, 1-0, 2-0 up, whatever it is, you see Endo come on with 25 minutes to go when he was only getting 3 minutes at the start of the season, or maybe not even coming on the pitch, and you're like, yeah, this is his role. Liverpool are winning this game of football, thank you so much. And yet, like, now we don't know what's going to happen, because we all assume, like, we're going to need another midfielder to help Ryan Gravenberch. But, you know, does that mean Wataru Endo has to go? So it feels like someone has to go. But I'm really glad that I got to see him start at Stamford Bridge. That was all we were. Yeah.
The guard of honour was tremendous, wasn't it? But I think for me, Chloe makes some really good points there. And the best one for me is this, like, what we saw last year out of him was he was coming in and doing a job as a defensive midfielder. What we saw this year was, as Chloe said, he's not getting many opportunities at the start of the season. He comes in towards the end of games and he's in to shut games down. There's no freedom there to play the game.
Yeah.
But you can tell he's been watching Ryan Gravenberch. He had the half turn that you love that Ryan Gravenberch does, and he was doing that time and time again. So he's come in and he's clever, and he's sat there and he's watching and go, all right, that's what the boss wants from a six. When I get my opportunity to start in this Liverpool side, I'm going to play it more like Ryan Gravenberch does than like he had done the previous year, which was essentially copy what Fabinho had done the year before or whatever, wasn't it? So you can see he's definitely... He's one of those players that keeps surprising me, even though I shouldn't be surprised, because every time I see him, he surprises me with how good he is on the football.
Yeah.
But he keeps doing better every time you give him the opportunity, doesn't he?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's funny because there's a few players in there, like Darwin Núñez is a contrasting example of another one who we think will leave at the end of the season, who doesn't matter what he does at this point, he's probably on the outs doing all the annoying, frustrating things that make you quite happy with that. So, and that's why Endo's just on the opposite end of it. He makes you go, oh. But it does make me think, because just interestingly, because I've just got his numbers up from this season. So in terms of the minutes that he's played in the Premier League, this is Endo. Second game of the season, Brentford, 1 minute. Seventh game of the season, Crystal Palace, 1 minute. Ninth against Arsenal, 1 minute. Got 13 minutes against Brighton in the 10th game, 3 against Villa in the 11th, 1 against Southampton in the first. Doesn't feature other than on the bench for the next 4. Then it's 3 minutes, then 33 minutes on the bench for 3 games, 22 minutes, 2 minutes on the bench, 19 minutes on the bench, 16, 30, 9, 1, bench, 5 minutes, bench, 14 minutes, and then boom, start. First start of the season, 69 minutes.
He's been building up to it.
Fresh legs and all that.
Always saying it.
But the Elliott thing and the Endo thing in particular are interesting, because Elliott, Dan, came out this week and was asked about it and was saying, look, he just wants to play for Liverpool. He thinks Liverpool's the club where he's best to be
at.
At.
Someone wants to play for Liverpool.
No, it's going there.
No, we'll get there. We'll get there. It's simmering away. But also makes reference to like what he might need to do for his career as well. We've seen so many footballers like that at Liverpool over the years. The ones we've talked about on this show before, your Danny Murphys and your David Thompsons. Harvey Elliott could be better than both of those, but he might only be as good as them if he stays. But it goes back to the nature of a squad, and I know you absolutely beat your brains out over Simic.
Contest.
Simicas,
yeah,
you know, and just wanting to be a squad member.
Yeah.
Wataru Endo's not going to play, not going to be a first 11 player for Liverpool. He's never going to play 5 games back to back unless we have a mad injury crisis. Elliott might be the same. And I think it's a sign of a good squad having players that good. Someone's got to be your 6th choice midfielder, and someone's going to have to be your 6th choice forward, Chiesa, at the moment as well. But that's I don't quite know how to square that away, particularly with someone like Elliott.
No.
次は解説です。スカウス英語が難しいために、一部聞き取れていない部分にアスタリスクマークをつけていました。わかる方がいれば、いつも通り教えてください。今回の動画では、実際は普段あまり使うのが難しそうな表現もありましたが、ネイティブらしい、イギリス人らしい表現もありましたので、本日の解説をチェックしてみましょ
う。I genuinely thought he was going to do his big spiel.
シュピールは、ネイティブスピーカーが日常会話やビジネスシーンでカジュアルに使う言葉で、長々とした話やお決まりの営業トークという意味で使われます。例えば、誰かが商品を売るためにずっと話し続けている場面や、何かを説得しようとしているときに、またその話かという感じで使われます。語源は、遊びや演技を意味するドイツ語に由来していて、少し演技がかった話しぶりという意味合いもあります。ビジネス英語というよりは、やや口語的でカジュアルな表現なので、友人との会話や YouTube のスクリプトなどでもよく見かけます。
I genuinely thought he was going to do his big spiel. I genuinely thought he was going to do his big spiel.
Clearly has a big shift to put in.
プットイン A シフトは、イギリス英語でとてもよく使われる口語表現です。直訳すると、シフトを入れるですが、実際には、きちんと働く。頑張る。与えられた仕事を全うする。といった意味になります。特にサッカーなどスポーツの文脈では、選手がたくさん走ったり、守備にも積極的に関与したりと、目に見える努力をした時に称賛される時などに使われます。日常生活では、残業をして頑張った人に対しても同様に使える便利な表現で、ネイティブっぽい一言として覚えておくと役立ちます。
Clearly has a big shift to put in. Clearly has a big shift to put in. Didn't really come to the fore either.
Come to the fore は、表面に出てくる。注目されるという意味のイディオムで、人の能力や問題が明るみに出るときによく使われます。例えば、普段は目立たないけれど、何かの出来事でその人の実力が発揮されたときに使え。イメージとしては、影から冷え出てくるという感じです。ビジネスや時事ニュース、スポーツの話題など幅広い分野で見かける表現なので、英語中級者から上級者の人は覚えておくと便利でしょ
う。Didn't really come to the fore either. I thought Curtis Jones stunk the calf out in a two-man midfield.
スティンク・ザ・ガフアウトは、イギリス英語で使われる強い批判を込めたスラング表現です。文字通りには、部屋を悪臭で満たすという意味ですが、実際には、非常に悪いパフォーマンスをする、空気を台無しにするといった比喩的な意味で使われます。特にサッカーなどスポーツの文脈でよく登場し、彼は今日は最悪だったと言いたい時にぴったりの言い回しです。ガフはイギリス口語で、場所や家などを意味する単語なので、全体で、その場所にいるだけでひどい状態だったというニュアンスになります。
But I thought Curtis Jones stunk the calf out in a two-man midfield. I thought Curtis Jones stunk the calf out in a two-man midfield. Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there. It's simmering away.
スイマーアウェイは料理でも感情でも使える便利な英語表現です。もともとは鍋でコトコト煮ることを表しますが、英会話では感情が静かに続いている。問題が水面下で進んでいるといった比喩的な意味でもよく使われます。例えば怒りや緊張、恋心などが完全に爆発したわけではないけれど、内側でじわじわと燃え続けている状態にぴったりです。日常会話やドラマ、ポッドキャストなどでもよく耳にする表現なので、耳にしたら何かが続いているなと捉えると良いでしょう。
We'll get there. We'll get there. It's simmering away. No, we'll get there. We'll get there. It's simmering away. I know you absolutely beat your brains out over.
ビートワンズブレインスアウトは、ものすごく頭を使って考える。必死で努力するというニュアンスを強調する表現です。例えば難題に直面したとき、夜遅くまで試行錯誤しているときなどにぴったりの表現です。オーバーをつけることで、その努力の対象が明確になります。やや古風またはドラマチックな響きがありますが、ネイティブスピーカーの間では今でも普通に使われます。試験勉強、仕事、創作活動など幅広い文脈で使えるので、表現力を上げたい人におすすめのフレーズです。
I know you absolutely beat your brains out over. I know you absolutely beat your brains out over. But that's I don't quite know how to square that away.
スクエアアウェイは準備する、きちんと片付けるといった意味で使われる便利な駆動詞です。ビジネスでは書類を整理する、会議の準備を整えるなど物事をきちんと整えるニュアンスで使われます。また軍隊や厳しい組織での使用では装備や荷物を正確に並べる、整頓するといった意味にもなります。ニュアンスとしてはやるべきことをしっかり済ませるイメージで、イディオムとして知っておくと実務でも日常会話でも使えて非常に便利です。
But that's I don't quite know how to square that away. But that's I don't quite know how to square that away.
いかがでしたか。遠藤航がどんどん再評価されているのは明らかですが、シーズン当初は本当に戦力外のような扱いからベンチから外れたこともあったほどでしたが、たったの数分の出場を重ねながら、それが3分、5分と長くなり、終盤では20分から30分程度の出場もできるようになり、優勝確定後とはいえ、今シーズン初めての先発でも、期待を超えるプレーをしてくるところが、改めて遠藤航の凄さを物語っていると感じます。クリスも言っていたように、遠藤がプレーすれば、毎回のように期待を超えてくるような、毎回のように驚かされるような、そういう感覚を感じさせるほど、悪いパフォーマンスがなく、毎回のように良いプレーをしていたということだと思います。後残り3試合も、期待せざるを得ませんので、楽しみにしたいと思います。本日もご視聴いただきありがとうございました。またすぐにお会いしましょう。